Project 613, day 128. Let's talk a little bit more about Truma, that we must separate from the produce of our fields in the land of Israel and give to the Kohen. As we learned at the very beginning, when you've already harvested everything, you must take Bikurim, which is the first fruits to the Holy Temple, and then one must separate 2%. That's the average amount, 2% of your produce, and give that to the Kohen, which is called Truma. Truma means elevated. That's literally the translation of the word teruma, leharim, to elevate. And this is because the food that you are giving to the kohen is now on a different, it has a different status. It is holy food. Because it is holy food, there are certain restrictions, specifications of who is allowed to eat this food. The kohen cannot feed it to anybody. Only a kohen or the kohen's wife, children, and slaves and maids may eat from the truma. Only someone that's part of the kohen's family can eat from the truma. Anyone else is prohibited from eating that truma. In fact, the Torah says there's a very severe punishment administered by heaven for anyone that is not meant to be eating truma if they eat truma. Now, those that are allowed to eat truma include everyone in the kohen's household, besides for a Jewish servant or a Jewish indentured servant. As we are going to learn, there are certain situations where a Jew is able to sell himself into slavery to a fellow Jew. He has nothing at all, not a penny to his name, and therefore, in order to survive, he needs to be hired out. So he sells himself to a fellow Jew. Let's say a Jew sold himself to a kohen. This Jew, who is now the kohen's servant, is not allowed to eat truma. Only a non-Jewish slave that belongs to the kohen is allowed to eat from the truma. This applies to a Jewish servant that has just sold himself and within the next 7 years is going to be free. And it also applies to a Jewish servant that has been indentured. As we are going to learn later on, that there is a possibility for a Jewish servant to become indentured and therefore remain with the kohen until the Jubilee year. Be it as it may, the two mitzvahs we learn today are that truma may be eaten exclusively by the kohen, his household, including non-Jewish slaves and maidservants, excluding any Jewish slaves or maidservants. Thank you for watching. More tomorrow.